All right, all right. Greetings, everybody. A little late today. Apologize, but so today we're going to be talking about lucid dreams. I know it's a lot of people's favorite subject on lucid dreams. Or on dreams. It's definitely one of my favorite subjects on dreams. Is lucid dreaming. It's one thing that I was pretty proficient at as a kid. That was created wonderful experiences. And then as an adult, got back into, I was always kind of curious with my dreams, and then discovered about, lucid dreaming, rediscovered it, and dove into it. And it was always fascinating, created fascinating experiences. And it was wonderful to learn about, wonderful experience. And so I know that it's one of the, when I bring up dreams, it's one of probably half the time, it's one of the top topics that people want to talk about when they talk about their dreams, just because the idea of being able to lucid dream is fascinating to a lot of people, and being able to kind of create that experience for themselves, whether they know whether it's true or not. Because the difference between believing something and knowing something is experience. So like right now, I can tell you, that it's a clear day out here, or I can tell you that it's raining. You're just gonna have to believe me unless you experience it, either through being able to see behind me or being here yourself. So kind of the difference between believing and knowing. So that's kind of why I wanted to make this video today for you about lucid dreaming, to help you to create this experience for yourself on lucid dreaming. So first off, if we want to talk about lucid dreaming, we need to talk about dreams. So we go over this every week. So today we'll go over for about 3-4 minutes. If you're watching this video after it's live and you've already watched a couple of the other videos on what dreams are, then feel free to skip forward a few minutes to get to the part about lucid dreaming. So first off, dreams are experiences within our subconscious mind. We leave out of from our conscious physical into the subconscious, and it's their message, essentially their messages to us from our inner self, our inner teacher. But truly what's happening is our consciousness is moving from the physical body to your astral body, and then your astral body is leaving this physical level and moving into the subconscious, the inner levels, and experiencing within those levels of existence. And so when you do that, you're dreaming. Some people remember the experience and remember their dreams. Other people don't remember the experience and don't remember the dreams. But it's still happening. Whether you remember it or not, it's still happening. And so when you do that, you're kind of creating this experience of what's within there. And that's why you're able to discover the message of how you're using your mind, because you're going in there and you're seeing the thoughts, the existence of the thoughts that are manifesting out to the physical. Because what's a thought, really? A thought is an image. Like right now, if I told you that to think of a balloon, you could probably tell me the color of the balloon that you thought of, because you created an image in your mind. When you thought of a balloon, you created an image. So our thoughts are images. And so when we see things within our dreams, these images, we're really seeing the thoughts that are moving through the subconscious mind and beginning to manifest, because your thoughts create your reality. I'm sure you've heard that before. It's in many different holy scriptures. As you think, so you become. And so your dreams are a way that you can see these thoughts manifesting as they're moving through the mind and becoming physical. So that's the even deeper meaning beyond just, kind of discovering the interpretation. So that's kind of a little bit importance to remember about dreams. So it's an actual experience within the inner levels that is going on. But a lot of times you're not conscious at the time. You don't really realize what's occurring until after you wake up. Just like when you're in the dream, you're not remembering and really experiencing your waking life. You're not really remembering that. So it's kind of hard to realize what's going on. And so lucid dreaming is becoming lucid and aware and conscious while you're in the dream. And so it's kind of, being in the dream and knowing that you're in the dream. And so for most people, it's something weird or quirky that's happening in the dream that kind of brings their attention to, oh, this must be a dream, because it can't be happening in the physical reality. Like for my first major lucid dream that I had, I was at work in a dream, which is a common dream for a lot of people, being at work and, being slammed with a bunch of overloaded with work. But I was at work, and in the back, I saw a cousin of mine, and it was his birthday. And he was sitting there on the counter and, had a present and a little birthday hat and the little thing. And And it was his birthday, and I was sitting there happy for him, so happy that it was his birthday. But I mean, he's my age, but he was a little kid. He was like 6 years old. And I was sitting there thinking like, man, goddamn, Barry gets everything, man. He even gets to be a kid for his birthday. Like, I want to be a kid my next birthday. I would love to, for my next birthday, just be 8 years old, is what I was thinking in the dream. And then I realized, like, this can't be possible. So I realized it must be a dream. And so it's kind of things like that, like questioning the possibility or reality of things within a dream, which will often trigger most people's first or every lucid dreaming experience, becoming lucid, becoming aware that you're in a dream, that you're not in your normal physical conscious life, and so that's kind of a good identifier of being in your dreams. So what you're going to want to do then is so we'll kind of go over, kind of explain a little bit about lucid dreams, kind of go over, touch on the different purposes for wanting to lucid dream, wanting to create this experience for yourself, as well as the highest purpose that you could have for doing this. And then we'll also go into the different steps. And I suggest you kind of take these steps one at a time. I mean, you can jump to the last step, but you'll set yourself up for success if you do these things first. Kind of walk before you run, and crawl before you walk. So instead of just popping out the womb and trying to take off, and beat Usain Bolt at a 100-yard dash, it's not gonna happen. I mean, it could, but so we'll go over these steps also. So first, we kind of touched on what lucid dreams are. So let's talk about the purpose of why. Why do you want to lucid dream? Because purpose is your personal benefit. Well, how would you personally benefit from lucid dreaming? Well, one main thing that a lot of people love about lucid dreaming is because it provides you experiences that you can't have in the physical. Like me, I would probably never go skydiving. And one time I became lucid when I was about, like, I kind of woke up in the dream, and like the dream kind of started. I was on an airplane, and everybody was jumping off the plane. And that's when I became lucid. It was like, whoa, shit, I'm fucking in a plane, 10,000 or 50,000 feet in the air, 100,000 feet in the air, however tall it is, and everybody's jumping off. And I was like, well, it's a dream. Let me just go ahead and jump off. And normally I'd have stayed on that plane till it landed. Then I would have jumped off. But I was able to have that experience, and it was so vivid that, I mean, honestly, it felt more real than real life. I mean, I can still, thinking about it, I can still feel the wind rushing on my cheeks. And I jumped off without even a parachute. And so I just fell all the way down to the ground, and then like it reset back up, and then I had a parachute, and then I parachuted down. But I was able to have that experience without actually having to put my physical life in any danger. Oftentimes when people first become lucid, the very first thing they do, my first like 10, 20 lucid dreams, first thing I did was just take off flying. Just take off flying. I mean, potentially, but as far as I know, in all my experience in life, I can't just stand up and just take off flying right now in the physical. But if I'm in a dream, and lucid dream, I can be Superman and take off flying wherever I want. And so you can experience different things like that when you're lucid dreaming. You can do whatever you want. You can kind of change the environment as much as you're able to shift and change the making things within your mind, because that's what you're experiencing. You're going deeper into your mind, your subconscious mind. So if you can only fly to the degree that you're able to relieve yourself of all the things that weigh you down in your physical life, kind of like, your stresses and things. So that's why kind of the people who meditate more, be a lot easier for them to fly in their dreams, because they have a practice and an ability to free themselves of the things that weigh people down in life, weigh you down in life. So different things like that. You're going to be able to change different things within your mind or within the dream, lucid dream, to the degree that you're able to make that same shift of what those things represent within your mind. So that's a wonderful benefit that a lot of people enjoy. It's one of the most enticing things for lucid dreaming that a lot of people speak up about and say. Another thing that I really like about lucid dreaming, which is probably the highest form, because the highest form of personal benefit is building understandings. Understanding the different things through life lessons in life that you can then take with you forward and utilize in different experiences in the future. And so the highest form of your personal benefit, the highest purpose that you can have for lucid dreaming, is to identify more about yourself, increase your own self-awareness. becoming more aware of who you are, the unconscious things within you, and things like that. Like whenever, like, people in dreams represent different parts of yourself, and so I'm very aware that I'm driven. I'm very aware that I can be stubborn. I'm very aware that I am friendly and go out of my way to help out my friends. I'm also very aware that I can be selfish. I'm a Taurus. If it ain't my way, it's the highway. And so I'm aware of these things. So it's very easy for me when they come up to identify, do I really want to be this way? Yes. If not, no. And so sometimes, though, people who I don't know show up in my dream because, the different people in your dream will represent different parts of yourself. So if I see my cousin, it might represent, a driven part of myself. If I see another friend of mine, it might represent, peace, the way I can bring about peace within myself. But if I see someone I don't know, it's going to represent a part of myself that I'm not aware of. I'm unable to identify that part of myself. So I can go and wake up from the dream and kind of piece together through the other symbols on what part of myself that person might be. Or if I'm lucid, I can just walk right up to the person and ask them, who are you? And in my experience, they don't necessarily tell me who they are, but they show me who they are. And so you can do that. You can derive more detail from the dream to be able to better interpret it. Eventually, once you get really good at lucid dreaming and you get really good at interpreting dreams, you can just stand there in the dream and interpret what's going on and I really identify what's occurring within your mind. And so, like I said, when you're in a lucid dream, you are experiencing what is occurring within your subconscious mind. So as you see different things, and like I said, your thought is cause. So as you think, so you become. So the thoughts that you think begin to manifest. Every thought seeks to manifest. So as you're seeing these different things manifesting, you might identify, whoa, this is something I don't want to manifest. And so by being lucid, you're able to address that before it actually manifests and change different things once you get to that level. Or you can look and see, oh, this is something that I've been waiting to manifest. Like a really close friend of mine was telling me about a dream that they had, and they were sharing how they've been working on their self-value and also working on their abundance within this life. And so that's going to reflect their own value, because the more you increase your own self-value, then you're going to see that increase in money, the money in your life, because money represents value. We give money to things that we value. And so there's a correlation between the value that you have and the money that you have. And then within the dream, money is going to symbolize that value. And so she was, dreaming that a check was coming in the mail. And so it was kind of, they received like a giant check and had this big old giant check there carrying around and went and cashed. And so it's just a reflection of the work that they were putting in to increase their own self-value. So you can be in the dream and realize, oh, this is something that I'm wanting to manifest. This large abundance is something I'm wanting to manifest. So then by being lucid in the dream, you can help move that along. You can do different things within the dream to help that to manifest even faster, to come about even faster. And so that's kind of one of the highest purposes of lucid dreaming. Like, for instance, one time I was lucid in a dream, and I was driving down the road. I didn't really become lucid until a certain point. I'll tell you about it. But I was driving down the road in the dream, and this guy was like behind me, just tailgating me and being real aggressive. And so then I just pulled over, and he pulled over. He hopped out his truck. I hopped out my truck. And and this was years ago. I mean, I'm a Taurus, like I told you. So I used to be real hot-headed and quick to be angry, very confrontational. So I jumped out the truck. He jumped out the truck. I jumped out the truck. And this is all in a dream. And then he comes walking up towards me, and he's got some weapon in his hand. So I just reach down and pick up. And next thing I know, I have a little dirt a little trowel for like gardening trowel. And he walks up to me, and all of a sudden I become lucid in that moment as he's coming towards me. And I realize all of this is a dream. And so all of this is like a split second. I realize, okay, this is a dream. This man, I don't know him, but how is he acting? He's very confrontational and very aggressive and abrasive and creating problems. And it was like, oh, this is that part of myself. And immediately I could then see that within myself, even in the dream. I could see how I could be that way at times. And so I realized I had two choices. I could wake up and then move forward with it, or I could go back into the dream and I could, fight him or calm him down or something, confront him, or I could just, kill him now and change that part of myself, because death symbolizes transformation. So I could transform that part of myself into something new. And so that's what I chose to do. And then upon waking up, I made sure, though, because like I said, you have to be ready for to get to that point in lucid dreaming, because when you make a change like that, then you've just completely changed something within your mind, your unconscious, subconscious mind, because I didn't know who that man was. So part of it was unconscious for me. And so I had to make sure that I moved along with that change instead of continuing to be the same old way, or else it was going to manifest even worse results. And so I did, and now I'm not even that way in the slightest. And when I talk about being in that, like telling a story about how I used to be or something, a lot of people nowadays, they just can't even fathom it, because they can't even see that. They can't even see me being like that. But that's because a lot of that was at the beginning of being able to change that. It really helped me. And so that's kind of what occurred with that dream. So that's kind of a way that I was able to identify something that I didn't want to manifest, and then changed it within the dream. So another thing for you to kind of think about is like a car. A car symbolizes the body, the physical body, because a car allows us to, we get inside of a car and we use the car to reach our goals, to reach our destination. Well, just like the physical body, the soul and the spirit use the physical body to reach its goals and reach the destination that it's striving for. And so if you have a car accident in a dream, it's going to be usually it's going to be a key indicator of some sort of way that you're using your mind that's going to bring about some damage to the body, some sort of disorder or dis-ease. And so it's kind of relating to your health. And so that's another thing. Like when you're lucid, you can really begin to identify, whoa, what is really manifesting here? What is it I need to change so I don't get the flu this season? So I don't, all of a sudden, have some sort of, gastro issues or something, or break my leg or something, so, but the context within the dream will help you to see that. But by being lucid, you can kind of be more aware of how to identify what's occurring to be able to change it, or even change it within the dream once you get to that point, so that's kind of like a more higher purpose for lucid dreaming. So like I said, lucid dreaming is simply being aware that you're within a dream. When you're dreaming, it is your consciousness moving from the physical into the subconscious or non-physical or inner levels or astral plane of existence. So it's just a different plane of existence where you're going to. So it's very, very similar to astral projection, projecting your consciousness out of your body. And the only difference is that you're using your dreams while you're sleeping to do it, versus sitting down and having a particular practice and technique for moving your consciousness into from your physical body into your astral body, and then moving into a different plane of existence from your astral body. And so it is very similar to that. So in addition to the things that I'm sharing here, you can also practice astral projection as well to kind of have the same result and use it for the same purpose. For that, my greatest resource that I could ever share with anybody is it's a book called Astral Dynamics by Robert Bruce. It's a wonderful book. Has more than enough information. You can see how thick this is. I've read it a couple times and still read it. Refer to it regularly for my own practice, and it has helped me. I've studied astral projection formally in different places, and nothing has ever come close to the techniques suggested in here. I guarantee if you worked at this within 2 weeks, you'd have some sort of astral projection experience. I can almost guarantee that if you actually practice it. But like I said, when I say in all my videos and to all my students, don't believe anything I'm saying. Please don't believe anything I'm saying. Like I said, belief and knowing the only difference is experience. So instead of believing anything I'm saying, provide yourself an experience. That way you can know whether something is true or not. So, maybe you don't believe astral projection is true. It don't matter to me. I've experienced it, so I know it is, and you can provide yourself your own experience to see whether it happens or not. And then you can decide what's true for you or not. So on top of that, that's one kind of thing. One thing that a lot of people talk about, I don't personally do it just because I don't find it be successful at all. But I hear a lot of people who teach lucid dreaming and things share this, and it's using triggers. And I mean, you can try it out and see if it works for you. It never worked for me, so I never really gave it a try anyways, really, kind of. But a trigger is being able to essentially trigger a lucid dream. So like I said earlier, most people's experience with lucid dreaming is occurs because something weird or something that normally isn't possible is happening within the dream. And so then it makes them question the reality of things, and then be able to become aware, oh, this must be a dream if this is possible. And so a trigger is pretty much creating that experience, making it happen. So like one trigger is sticking your finger through your hand. You know, if you try to stick your finger through your hand, it can't happen. But in a dream, it can happen. I know it can happen because I've done it. But the thing is like right now, if you try it, it's not going to happen. And so what you're supposed to do with triggers is you're supposed to just do that every couple times during a day until it becomes a complete habit to where you naturally normally do it, to where then when you're in a dream, even though you're not lucid, you're just dreaming, it's just something that you normally do. So it's something that you'll start doing in your dream, but then your finger will actually go through, and then you'll be like, oh, wait, I must be in a dream because my finger went through. Well, I never even did that like throughout the day. But one day, I even shared this a couple weeks ago because in the visitation dream series, because I saw my uncle who had just passed 2 weeks ago before the dream, in the dream. And so I was questioning, how is this possible? This must be a dream. Well, if it's a dream, then one of those triggers must work. And so I tried to stick my finger through my hand, but it didn't go all the way, but it kind of came out the other side a little bit, but not all the way, you know? And so I thought, it didn't go all the way, so it can't be a dream, even though the tip of my finger sticking out, you know? So you develop this belief to where it's not going to happen. You know, like a lot of times people will use flying as a way to test the dream, and they'll like jump up, 40 feet and then fall back down, but then be like, I didn't fly, so it must not happen. You know, like, because right after I did that finger thing, I tried to do a triple backflip, and I only did like 2.5 and fell on my face. It was like, it wasn't a triple backflip, so it must not be a dream. And then by the time I realized it was a lucid dream, my uncle had already left. And so I missed that opportunity to visit with him. I mean, he came back like a week or 2 weeks later, so I didn't really miss out. But I mean, I felt like I did the next morning when I woke up, and in that moment also. But it's all right, So triggers, so I can share with you some other triggers. One is every time you check the time, look at it twice. That's because in a dream, and I've experienced this often, and any of you who might have ever had a dream, I often hear some of people sharing in a dream and really puzzled or really puzzled at the experience of reading something in a dream. So if it's really hard to read something in a dream because the words are always changing. So as you read something, if you try to go back and reread it, the words are going to be different in a dream. Or if you look at a clock and it says 10:04, and then you look away and look back, the clock's going to say like 3:22. So reading things in a dream is very difficult because it's always changing. It's not going to be the same every time. And so you can use that to create a trigger for lucidity. So if you double check the clock, then you get into the habit of that. Then when you do that in the dream, it will, you'll look and double look, and it'll be different. And then that can trigger a dream. Another one is breathing underwater, trying to breathe underwater. Now that one, I wouldn't try to, do that in your regular life to create a habit of that. But that's also another way that I actually became lucid once in a dream. I was in a swimming pool and was just down there swimming forever. And I realized, wait a second, I've been breathing this whole time. This must be a dream. Then it was early when I first started lucid dreaming. So I just like jumped out of the pool, was all excited, jumped on a dirt bike and just rode dirt bikes the whole rest of the dream. My subconscious mind was trying to tell me something, but I just took off and did other stuff. I had other plans, I guess. But it was fun, because I live in the city, so I don't get a whole lot of chance to go dirt bike riding. So I was able to that night and satisfied that desire. So it was cool. So that's one thing that dreams can do, like I said, is one of the purposes is it can fulfill desires. Fulfill desires you don't have a chance of fulfilling in your regular life. Like right now, I'm in this, it's Wednesday, middle of the work week. I got another 20 hours to put in. Well, a little less, another 16 hours to put in. So I can't just take off to Egypt and go, meditate in Egypt and Cairo in the pyramids. But tonight I can lucid dream and go meditate right on top of the pyramid if I wanted. So you can kind of create different experiences that you can't really create and satisfy desires that you might have that you aren't. It's more difficult to satisfy those desires within physical. So that's also a good, because that's kind of one of the purposes of life is one, to learn and build understandings, but also to fulfill desires. We have desires, and so that's why we keep coming back and re-experiencing life, is to fulfill these desires. So that's one way you can do that, is through dreams. So like I said, you can try those different triggers. I mean, you can Google all types of different triggers. I don't really get into it a whole lot, just because I don't know, there's a lot more productive ways to create a lucid dream. So I kind of just share that just as additional information for you to kind of take and be able to utilize. And, you know, maybe you have a lot of success with it, which would be wonderful, because that'd be a very, very good way of triggering that and having that experience. And that's the main purpose of all of this, is to create an experience. So however it happens, it happens. So the first step that I was really saying, because I wouldn't really call that one of the steps. The first step is writing down your dreams. Writing down your dreams. Nothing else can replace writing down your dreams. As far as, I mean, really, that's like step 1 through 5 is writing down your dreams. You can add that to every single other step. Writing down your dreams. Write down your dreams. As soon as you have a dream, write it down. Maybe you can't write it down. Maybe you have to get up and go to work. So first moment you have a little break at work, write it down. Maybe you got stuff going on. As soon as you get off work, write it down. Maybe you can't even write the last night's dream down until the next night, right before you go to bed. That's fine. Write it down. Maybe it's 3 days later. Write it down. Write down your dream, because that is going to be the foundation of this relationship with your subconscious mind. And the more that you cultivate a relationship with your subconscious mind, the more it aligns and the more it harmonizes, to where then it's a lot easier to move freely from one state of consciousness to another. You know, so as you begin to cultivate that relationship and strengthen that bond, then the easier it is to have lucid dreams, to work with your dreams. And like I said, man, the main importance, the main purpose of dreaming is self-awareness, becoming aware of yourself, becoming more aware of who you are, because then that's going to put you more in control of your life. And it'll be easier to respond to things instead of react to them. You know, it'll be easier to consciously create your life, other than your life being created for you, it may seem, because of the unconscious thoughts and patterns and behaviors and emotions that you have. So write your dreams down. Write them down. Even if you don't know how to interpret them, don't know what they mean, write them down. It'll still benefit and things, because of step 2. Step 2 is going to be think about your dreams and talk about your dreams. Whether you know what they mean or not, think about them and talk about them, because like I said, as you think, so you become. You know, so what you put your attention on grows. Energy flows where the attention goes. So if you're putting your attention on dreams, then the experience of your dreams is only going to grow. It's a universal truth. So please test me on it. Put it to the test. Please, I challenge you to put that to the test and see if that happens or not. I guarantee you it'll work. If not, then, you know, either then don't believe me and walk away, or we can talk about how maybe you can better apply, you know, putting that to the test and putting your attention and consciousness on dreaming, because it'll happen. So what you put your attention on grows, energy flows where the attention goes. You know, as you think, so you become. It's universal truth, universal law. So one thing that you can do is begin putting your attention on your dreams by talking about your dreams and by thinking about dreams. So talk to your dreams with your friends, ask them about their dreams, and just think about your dreams. Just look at everything like, if this is a dream right now, you know, what could this mean? You know, like watch the different videos that I got on the universal language of the mind. Study the universal language of the mind. There's different information out there on it. You know, there's all types of ways to think about dreams, talk about dreams every day. And this will only increase your dreaming experience, which will then increase the material that you have to think about and talk about. So it's a kind of a cyclical nature. So that's a quick, easy step that you want to do, because like I said, with dreams are a reflection of your consciousness. So if you're thinking and talking about dreams all day, then you're going to become more aware of the dreams that you experience, because it's a reflection of your consciousness. And so, you know, if you're thinking about it more, you're going to experience it more. And dreams also, you know, the other thing with dreams is they raise your awareness. You know, the dreams are showing you what you're aware of. So what I would also suggest is to be present, because the more, like I said, dreams are a reflection of how you're using your mind. So if I'm using my mind to become more present, of what I'm experiencing and the things around me versus just being stuck in my thoughts and in my memory of what's happened to me or what's happened in the past, or using my imagination and stuck in my imagination on the possibilities of the future or the worries of the future, you know, or the regrets of the past, or the great things of how the past used to be so great, you know, or the wondrous future or the worries of the future. You know, if my thoughts are, my attention's in the future or past, then it's not in the present. And so if I'm stuck in that, you need to bring yourself back to the present. And you can do that by utilizing your 5 physical senses can help you do that. You know, becoming very aware of what you're seeing, what you're hearing, what you're smelling, what you're tasting, what you're feeling, both externally, you know, feeling the air, temperature, feeling your clothes, but also internally, the emotions that you're feeling, the energy. Where's the energy moving at in my body right now? You know, am I feeling any aches and pains anywhere? Am I feeling any good feelings anywhere? You know, and putting all of that together, seeing, hearing, tasting, touching, feeling, smelling. You know, and another great way to become present is through the breath. Breath is amazing. Breath will definitely help you with that. And so by becoming more aware and present, you're becoming more lucid of your physical experience. Like I said, your dreams are a reflection of your reality. So if you become more lucid of your physical experience, then within your dreams you will become more lucid. It's gonna happen. It's a law of the universe. Any person, place, or thing anywhere is gonna abide by these laws of the universe. So it's gonna happen that the more vivid and lucid that you become of your waking experience, then the more lucid you'll become within your dreams. Guarantee it. Like I said, don't believe me. Don't believe me, please. So with those things, those are the first 3 things that you're going to want to do, is write down your dreams, talk about your dreams, think about your dreams, and become more present. And so that's kind of different things that you can do throughout the day that's going to help increase your dream recall. And as you do that, about 2 or 3 weeks from whenever you start that, doing that every day, and you're increasing your dream experiences, then you will want to try. I mean, you got to really be having dream experiences every night and writing down your dreams every night to really have success with the next step. And the next step is going to be called reentry. So this is where you wake up from a dream and you go back into the dream. And I'm sure everybody has had at least one experience of that, because so many people have experiences of waking up and not wanting to get up for the day because they were having such a great dream. Well, eventually, one day is going to come around where it's a Saturday and you really don't have nothing to do, so you can go back to sleep and go back into that dream. Most people have had that experience, like usually when they're a kid. I know I had it all the time when I was a kid. Mostly I would do it like the next night. But anyways, re-entry is what it's called. So what you want to do, so essentially that's what you're doing. You're waking up from the dream and you're moving back into the dream. And so there's different reasons for that, and I'll get into that. But at first, essentially what you're going to want to do in order to wake up, you know, you can set an alarm, but an alarm is going to wake you up too much, because you don't want to wake up too much. You still want to be in that reverie state, that state between sleeping and awake. So the best way to do that is to just tell yourself the night before you go to sleep, tell yourself, you know, wake myself up. You know, I typically you want this to happen at least about 5 or 6 hours after you've already slept. That way your body's already gone through a rejuvenation process, a revitalization process, to where you're fully rejuvenated and revitalized. And so now the attention can be given to dreams and dreaming. And so you still have the purpose of sleep without interrupting and disrupting that, to where it's not going to make you tired. It's going to make you more energized and revitalized because of what you're doing. So I just, usually whenever I do this, like tonight, if I did it tonight, I usually wake up at like 6 o'clock. So I tell myself to wake up at 4 o'clock. Or 5:30 or 6. So I tell myself to wake up at 4 o'clock. And it's going to happen, because as you have already done the first 3 steps, like I said, you begin to harmonize the conscious and subconscious minds. So you're going to have a lot stronger relationship with your subconscious mind. One result of that is your intuition is going to increase. You know, you're going to be more intuitive. You're going to kind of think of things before they happen. You know, like think of somebody before they text you. It's going to increase. That's going to happen more often. And so that's one result of this harmonization. Another is that the subconscious mind will respond to you a lot faster, a lot more efficiently, and a lot more effectively. So when you go to sleep, before you go to sleep, if you tell your subconscious mind, wake me up at 4 o'clock on the nose, then it will do that. It will wake you up. I have a friend of mine who, I mean, he trusts in this wholeheartedly and doesn't even use an alarm clock. He just tells himself when to wake up, and he wakes up. I mean, me, I got the part of my karma in this life. Things I have to learn is trusting my intuition. So I don't, even though I've had plenty of experiences of it working, I'm not going to trust my career on it. My main source of income on it. But I should. I probably should. But anyway, so this is something you can do. So tell yourself every time I practice it, it works. Wake up at 4 o'clock. Sometimes I forget what I was doing. I'm like, oh, why did I wake up? It's too early. Go back to sleep. And most of the time, I remember what I'm doing. And so you'll wake up, and you'll just don't wake up too much, but just think about what was just occurring in the dream, and kind of replay it in your mind. And if you have any level of understanding of the universal language of mind, kind of maybe interpret what's happening there. And then you have 2 choices, because you're going to go back into the dream. You're just going to go put yourself back to sleep and allow your body that was just asleep to fall back asleep, and then you remain awake and conscious. It's very easy to do through this technique. And if you try it, when you first go to sleep, it's pretty difficult, but we'll get to that. That's the last step. But it's very easy to do with this technique. And so you'll wake up, kind of replay the dream, and then you have 2 choices. You can either go back into the dream where it just left off, or you can choose which point within the dream you want to go back to and restart the dream from there. And depending on what the dream was may determine what you want to experience and try. Maybe at first you might want to pick one, let me just replay the dream every time, or let me just go back into the dream where it left off every time. See which one's easier for you and start out that way, and then flip back and forth. So what you're going to want to do is tell yourself, like me, I usually choose 4 o'clock in the morning. And so I tell myself to wake myself up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I wake up, open my eyes, and then I close my eyes back again usually, and then replay the dream in my mind of what was occurring. And then I choose, I'll choose to go back into the dream where it left off. Then what you'll want to do is, because visualization, the ability to visualize is very useful here. And if you want, you can practice visualization techniques every day to help increase that, which will help increase your ability to do this. But you'll then visualize and replay the dream in your mind, and what you're going to do, because you are where your attention is. Oftentimes, we'll pause from this and segue here. If you can think about times when you've been daydreaming, you are where your attention is. So you weren't experiencing anything of where you were, because you were so engrossed and involved in your daydream of being at the beach that then somebody says your name and you go, oh, huh, what? And because you weren't there, you weren't present. And so you are where your attention is. So what's going to occur is by putting your attention on the dream and what was occurring in the dream, you're going to go back to there. Your consciousness is going to move from here to there. And then next thing you know, you're going to be back in the dream, re-experiencing it. But this time, you're not going to be re-experiencing it like a normal dream, unconscious of what's going on. You're going to be conscious and lucid to what's going on. So this is a wonderful technique. Starting out, wonderful technique. The most effective technique is the next technique, but this will definitely help be a stepping stone into that technique. So like I said, with lucid dreaming, it's just like with anything in life. You got to learn how to crawl before you can walk. You got to learn how to walk before you can run. So by writing down your dreams, and by talking about your dreams and thinking about your dreams throughout the day, and by being present throughout the day, that is going to be learning how to crawl. This technique is going to be learning how to walk, by waking yourself up in the middle of the night. Like I said, don't use an alarm. Just tell your subconscious mind, wake me up 4 a.m., wake me up 3 a.m. so I can do this technique. And then when you wake up, close your eyes back, replay the dream. If you want to start it over, then go to the point up to where you want to start it at, and just really hold that image of what's occurring within the dream right there in your mind, and you'll go back into the dream right there. So that's kind of learning how to walk. Next, we're going to talk about learning how to run. And when you get this technique down, and when you're ready to start practicing this technique, fascinating. It's wonderful. It's very useful, very powerful. So this technique, a lot of people, they call it waking induced lucid dreaming. It's pretty much going and putting your body to sleep while you remain awake. Like I said, one thing that I started doing that really sped up my experience of being very proficient with this technique was in that book, Astral Dynamics. And in this book, he'll talk about, energy bodies, and I could go on for hours talking about all of those different things, but there's different techniques to like wake up your energy body and things to activate it that'll help with that. But essentially what you're doing is you are putting your physical body to sleep while remaining conscious. And so there's different things that are going to happen with that. And that's mainly what I'm wanting to talk about right now, is the different things that happen with that. So to help you be successful, because the mind has different ways to ensure that you're asleep to move you through. So a lot of people, I'm not really going to go into it about sleep paralysis. I mean, if you have a question, you can ask it right now about sleep paralysis as we're talking about it. But I'm not going to, I could do a whole video on sleep paralysis to help you understand it and get through that and what's really occurring, to where it's not such a frightening experience or anything, because there's nothing frightening about it. It's very simple. It's just a biological reaction and experience that you go through in order to go into your dreams. So that's part of this technique. So as you put yourself to sleep, as you put your body to sleep, that's one of the first things that happen, is that you will you'll have sleep paralysis. But before that, what happens before that is your mind will send little triggers to see if you're asleep. So you're going to be laying there. It'll probably take about 20 minutes. For your first couple times of doing it, it might take like 30 or 40 minutes, just because you're not used to doing this. But what's going to happen is, as you're laying there, your body's going to fall asleep, and then your mind is going to send different signals to see if you're really asleep or not. So what's going to happen is you'll be laying there and you'll all of a sudden just want to roll over. And if you do that and roll over, then it's telling the mind, okay, they're not asleep yet. They're not unconscious yet. So don't begin the process of moving into a dream. Or maybe you're laying there and then all of a sudden you just want to scratch your neck. As soon as you move, it happens. So you have to really have a strong will and utilize your willpower. And what's going to help you through that is your desire to lucid dream. The stronger your desire is, the stronger your willpower will be. And so because if you move, it'll start all over again. The 15, 20 minutes will start all over again. And so you just have to wait. But if you're able to get through that, then the next thing that you'll experience, which you actually really won't experience, you'll probably experience your first couple times, but if you're going to be successful with this technique, you won't even know it's going on. But sleep paralysis will happen. And so that's where the brain releases a chemical to paralyze your body so that you're not up walking around acting out your dream. And so that's the next thing to happen. And then after that, you'll begin to, shortly after that, you'll begin to start hearing things or even seeing things. Like I have a bazillion different examples from my experiences, but like the very first time I successfully did this technique, it was very easy because I was exhausted that day. And it was like 3 a.m. before I finally got home. As soon as I laid down in my bed, bam, I was out. But I was like, it was like 3 days into practicing this technique. And so immediately my body went to sleep and it just shot me on my body. But what happened was the first sound that I heard was, it was really weird sound. I mean, every time it's a different sound, but it's very weird. Some people describe it as like these bells ringing or some sort of like electronic kind of screeching, scratching sound. Really, really essentially what's happening is the physical plane vibrates at a frequency, and then the higher levels of that you go, the higher the frequency. It's like light. We can only see a certain frequency of light. If the vibrations get too low, we can't see it. If the vibrations get too big or ultraviolet, ultra red, we can't see that. So we can only see the color spectrum, the things resonating at this increase. So what's the same thing with seeing colors and things is existence. So our body has a certain vibration. So as it vibrates faster, that's what you're hearing, is that rapid increase of vibration to match the next level. So so you'll hear that as you go in. Well, in my experience it sounded like I thought, for some reason I thought that my computer must have caught on fire. And so as soon as it happened, I'm like, man, I'm about to go into sleep for the next 8 hours. All the while my house is catching on fire at this moment. I'm not going to wake up for 8 hours. And so I like kind of, I don't know exactly how I did it, but I just, brought my shift of my consciousness back pretty much out of a necessity, and woke myself up and jumped up and looked all around my apartment, started smelling for smoke, and then realized what occurred. Like, oh man, I was completely successful, because as soon as I thought that, I was like moving into the dream and everything was opening up. And so I was like, man, I was successful, completed it, and then brought myself back out. So that was kind of one experience. Another time, you know, I heard like footsteps walk around my room. Or another time I was like, I woke up in my bed, but the roof wasn't there and it was raining all around me, you know, and inside the house. It was raining inside the house all around me with no roof, you know. So you'll kind of think like, at first you'll think like, am I asleep? Am I awake? You know, what's really going on? So it might tell, you know, because sometimes I hear like I'll hear whispers and it'll sound like somebody's in the other room. And I'm like, what the fuck? What's going on? And so it's kind of another kind of trigger of making you want to wake up. Like I said, the first one, thought my house was on fire. I want to jump up. The next one, it's like fucking raining all around and I'm getting rained on. I don't want to go to sleep yet. I'm getting rained on. Or, you know, like footsteps going on. And so, and sometimes also, I'll be sitting there and awake in my spiritual body or my astral body, but I'll still be in the mindset of don't fucking move because it'll start it all over again, that whole step before that. And so I'll be sitting there like, man, I think I'm in the dream. Even to this day, I'll still kind of go through that sometimes where I'm like, I think I'm in the dream, but I'm not sure yet. Let me see. And I'll start to move and start to roll around and get out of my body and then take off dreaming. But so those are kind of like the different phases that you'll go through. And it is pretty difficult. But, you know, like I said, if you've already done the work of the, you know, first couple steps of writing down your dreams every day, all the time, as much as you can, you know, whether it's at the beginning of the day, ideally it'd be as soon as you wake up. But I mean, if it's not till 3 days later, that's fine. Like I said, you know, talking about your dreams, talking about dreams in general, thinking about dreams in any type of way or format. And being present, those three things, like I said, that's your walk, that's you learning how to crawl with dreams and lucid dreaming. And then if you do the re-entry, where you're not trying to do this as soon as you go to bed, but you're allowing yourself to revitalize and rejuvenate, you're allowing your body to do that, and then you're already asleep, so you kind of wake yourself up and then go back to sleep. It's much easier to do it that way. That's kind of learning how to walk. And so if you do those first two things, it won't be such a difficult experience to do the last one of putting your body to sleep while you remain conscious. That won't be so difficult if you do the first few things and build yourself up to that. Just like the re-entry exercise, you know, if you haven't written down your dreams or worked with your dreams at all, this is your first time, and you go home and you go to sleep tonight and try to do the re-entry, you're going to have a tough time because you're trying to walk before you can crawl. And so, like I said, if you build yourself up with these steps, and build yourself up for success, then by the time you get to the point of where you want to first practice putting your body to sleep while you remain conscious and awake, you'll pretty much have already done that with yourself, with your body already being halfway asleep. So it'll be very easy to move into that. So like I said, you want to try those techniques. If you have any more questions on any of those techniques, or you go home and maybe you're to the point where you've been writing down your dreams and you want to try the re-entry, you know, but then you have an experience and you wake up and you have more questions, feel free to shoot me a message or email selfawareness3@gmail.com. More than happy to help out anybody. Like I said, I love dreams. I love more than almost anything in life the fact that I know what my dreams mean, and that is very valuable to me. And so because of that, that's why I like to freely give that information to other people. So, you know, feel free to ask a question as soon as I'm available and can. I'll give you a response. Or if I don't know the answer, because like I said, I don't know everything. Truly, I don't know anything. I'm just sharing with you my experiences so that you can then take that and produce experiences for yourself so that you can know what's true or not. So, you know, if I don't know, I'll do my best at point you in the right direction to find the answer. So that's kind of the video on lucid dreaming. It's about twice as long as the usual Wednesday Dreamwalkers videos. So, but this is a topic. I mean, I could go on for another 3 hours talking about lucid dreaming. But I definitely want to thank you all for joining with me tonight. Hope you received something. Hope it adds value to your life, to yourself. And definitely, as always, want to leave you in peace. Also, be on the lookout for my book coming out on dreams. You know, understanding yourself through understanding your dreams. Life is but a dream. That's the title. Life is but a dream. Understanding yourself through understanding your dreams. So be on the lookout for that. That'll give a lot more information on dreams and how to interpret them and really get you started. A huge breakdown on how to interpret your dreams, a huge breakdown on how to write down your dreams and things. No problem, Jorge. Good to see you again. Even though we ain't really you seeing me, I ain't really seeing you, but definitely good to connect with you again, brother. I appreciate it, and hope the Windy City's treating you right. And y'all have a good night. Peace.